Tēnā koutou katoa, everyone, and welcome back to Mucky Hope Productions. I'm your host, Mucky Hope, and oh my gosh, I am joined by two wonderful, fabulous traitors all the way from Australia. And let's start off with the lovely lady on my right with the bright, wonderful pink headphones. It is the wonderful V.
Mad. I should have my top notch like Alan Cumming had during this
God,
trip.
Yeah, it's like the headband.
I loved that. I love the little top notch. I'm fine. I'm happy to be here.
Woo! Yeah. And let's move on to our wonderful, amazing traitor. You know, I am shocked that she is still here. You know, she's like, you know, the queen of these podcasts, the queen of Australia. She's the Kate and the Parvati's when it comes to running all the Facebook groups across Australia. Everyone, please welcome the amazing Michelle. How's it going, Michelle? Woo!
Yeah, I come here trying because the post in the Survivor group goes up and there's the first to fifth competition, and I'm literally coming into the room, finishing, putting little hearts and whatever else, and then I realize there's no computer in here. I go back and get the computer, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be late for the podcast. Yeah, but something really exciting happened to me this week. So you know how last Sunday. Was it last Sunday? Yeah, I went to go for those buffs, and I got a few extra buffs and things. So I got an extra buff, and I saw someone else had an extra buff, and they were talking. They were going to sell it or give it on to somebody else. Yeah. And someone from SA Survivor came onto his post and said, "Oh, do you want to do a swap?" And I'm like, "Oh, I want an SA Survivor buff, which I don't have." And anyway, I found out that he didn't want to do the deal, so I'm doing the deal. I'm going to have an Island of Secrets buff, swapping with Paul and Dino for the brains buff. Oh my God!
Oh my gosh! What? That's so cool!
So excited.
So is it so with Dino? Is it his original buff from Unity Island or Return of the Outcasts?
I think it's Paul's buff. Well, no, it's not original. It's on the card. But they must have extra buffs. But Dino sort of facilitates the swap because you need a courier because their mail over there is so bad that it might get lost. Yeah. So Dino helps Paul do things like this. So, yeah, I'm talking to Dino right now.
Ooh, how exciting. How exciting. Yay. Just really quick, what is your favorite season of Survivor South Africa?
You know what? I really like Island of Secrets. Or Island of Secrets.
Island of Secrets.
Like Traitors.
Yeah, the Traitors Island of Secrets.
Yeah, exactly. I do like that one, so I'm really happy.
Yeah. Now, how about you, V? Have you seen Survivor South Africa?
Not South Africa. No.
Ooh.
So you've got to do that. Maybe just the last 4 seasons, not all of them.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just the last 4. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I have a list this long.
Yes. Yeah. But, we're not here to talk about Survivor South Africa or tribe buffs or anything. We're here to talk about the treacherous traitors. And Michelle, what is the point in living anymore? Right? Why are we all still here? Carolyn's gone. She's banished. Why?
But Carolyn, when they were in the turret right at the beginning and Danielle's giving her all these ideas of what they can do, Carolyn's literally going, no, 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 no. She's not sort of painting herself in a good light to Danielle. Like, she didn't start off that episode very well, in public relations sort of ideas.
Yeah, well, it's quite hard because obviously there's pretty much very little trust between Danielle and Carolyn. And with Danielle, she's like, oh my gosh, we took out Rob together. Now we're, twin sissy wissies, I guess you can say. And she's like, we're all locked in together. But Carolyn keeps calling out the bullshit. Like, no, it was literally not that long ago. We're literally just targeting each other. Why should I put my trust 100% in her? Dirk and Carolyn should have just gave in to Brittany being a traitor, or?
Oh, no. I really don't know how those two could have possibly continued any sort of relationship together. I don't know what could have been done. I think it was just one of them had to get the other one, and it was whoever was going to be successful, and unfortunately it was Danielle. I would have liked to have seen it go the other way, of course, because I'm a Caroline tragic. But it was doomed, and I think bringing Brittany in would have just been another 2 against 1, and there was nothing to be done.
Exactly. But what is there to be done? Let's add Drew to the podcast. How's it going, Drew?
It's definitely going. It's going. It's been a night.
Yeah. We were just talking about Carolyn getting banished. What's your thoughts on Carolyn?
We've gone right to the end.
Yeah,
I'm honestly shocked. I thought for sure that she had this thing in the bag as far as the Traitors were concerned. So to see her go, I won't say this early, but to see her go before the finale is insane. But I'm good on Danielle for, being a part of moving it this way. And we kind of got these breadcrumbs throughout the episode that it could go this way, especially after the challenge. So for it to actually happen, it sucks for it to go, but it leads to some very interesting things that could happen from here on out.
Yeah, we even got a comment here. Shocked Carolyn went before Danielle. Yeah, Michelle, it was sort of like all season long. Like, we're sort of getting spoon-fed to us that, like, Carolyn's voices have been heard. She's ready to make a move. It's Carolyn versus Danielle. Danielle tried to take out Carolyn, but then that didn't really work out. And then somehow it all leads to here.
Yeah, it's been a mess.
Yeah.
I've got a lot to say about the round table when we get to it. But let's go to the breakfast table first.
Yes. Let's quickly go to the breakfast. So, essentially, at breakfast, right, Carolyn's there, and Gabby's basically whispering to her, like, oh, I think it's Danielle. And pretty much as people are coming in, they're all roughly sharing the same opinion, that it's all probably Danielle, which at the start of the episode, it's like, oh my God, it's Danielle tonight. Oh my gosh, finally, Karen's going to get her big move. Wow. And it's like, yeah, I feel like they always mislead on the edit. Absolutely. I was so convinced that Danielle was going this episode. Huge shocker. But Drew, your boy Sam, he gets murdered.
Who? It almost felt inconsequential that Sam left, even when they're debating it, and they're coming back in and they're like, oh no, it might be Dylan. It's like, I hope it is, because Sam leaving would kind of be a wet fart almost of a elimination. But Sam goes anyway. Dylan walks in. The funniest part of that whole thing is when they're deliberating and they cut to Dylan doing like
that
push-ups or whatever with the shirt off.
Yeah.
And everything. We're getting a little crazy with these cutaways to them doing stuff. It's like, okay, we get it, but Sam leaving was. I forgot Sam left until we started talking about it right now.
Yeah. Well, Michelle, I kind of felt like it was a little bit of like an Australian Survivor editing moment here, where it's like they randomly give someone screen time out of nowhere. It's like, oh, I wonder why they're getting screen time, and then they get eliminated.
Yeah, totally.
It's this episode.
We need to know who it is that's getting eliminated. You can't suddenly say murdered. You can't suddenly say, oh, who's that, as they are murdered. But he got a little bit, didn't get a big edit. Yeah. I don't think it'll get him on another show.
No. Well, V, I felt like it would be pretty funny if, like, we just had no idea who Sam was and it gets murdered. And not only are we saying, wait, who was Sam? But even the cast is saying, who's Sam?
I'm feeling a little bit like that about Dolores.
Yeah.
Like, who's Dolores? Yeah. I feel like she's the new Sam.
Almost. Well, I kind of feel like Dolores is a guaranteed faithful at this point, and so there's just like not much sort of content sort of surrounding her. What's your take on that, Drew?
I feel like Dolores' only episode where she was on screen relevant was probably last week. I think we got a lot of content from her this week. Nothing. Like it literally, like, you could have removed her from the episode and just been like, okay, yeah, when did Dolores get eliminated? Oh, she didn't. Cool. And I think that as the weeks progress, especially as we get closer to the finale, that's not a good sign that Dolores is going to be a part of the end game. Now, if she is, then that's bad on the editor's part for not at least showing her more going, because even attention now, and it's Ivar. So if Ivar's getting more attention than you, there's probably a problem, and I think, and that's that is Dolores.
Yeah, and something as well right here, the Dolores versus Tom each round table. It's so funny though, because they're both irrelevant for a voted block. It's true. I mean, like, Michelle, we both get Dolores and Tom just randomly voting for each other here. And like, didn't the same thing happen last week as well, where they voted for each other? Or was it that Dolores voted for Tom and Tom voted for someone else?
I don't remember one week to the next, unless I write it all down.
True. Yeah. Well, Drew, I know that last week you weren't that hot on Tom, right? He says that females are, way better traitors than men are. But can I give you this hot take? Tom needs to win to save the season. This season is only going to be great if Tom Sandoval wins. If he doesn't win, it's a flop, and we're going to cancel Traitors.
I mean, I feel like this is just a bunch of sarcasm. Tom doesn't need to win. Like, to save the season. No, does Tom need to win? Sure, like whatever. But like to save, I think the air kind of has gotten sucked out. Like, I know I said last week it kind of felt like filler. This week just kind of felt like, oh look, Kate and Barbary are here. I don't know what has happened to put it in this situation. And like, I'm not saying that I'm bored with it, because I'm not. But I don't think there's saving the season. I just think that it was very back heavy. I think that it got really good, and now it's kind of at a lull. But they could still take off, because even in this episode where it's not the most exciting thing, we still saw the culmination of Danielle versus Carolyn.
Yeah.
And that's been a season-long storyline that finally had an end. So even in an episode not like the most compelling television that's ever happened, there is still some type of payoff of this happened here, and it keeps you interested to see what could possibly happen next.
Yeah. Well, at the end of last season, we saw that CT and Trishelle, they had, a whole like preseason like rivalry, but then they got together, they stayed best friends, and they made it to the end together. Are we going to see a very similar story with Danielle and Brittany?
Oh, probably. Shocker. And I couldn't be more bored, to be honest. I think I know what happened this season. We lost Dorinda, Rob, Bob, Tony Vlachos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm Danielle and Brittany, awesome, whatever, great. Sorry, like I'm trying to find like why am I still interested in this now? Caroline is gone. She was my sort of saving grace. Tom is endlessly entertaining because he's just Tom. I think, maybe a Dylan and Tom win could be kind of cute. I think Dylan's playing quite a good game, and so he's been sort of the dark horse, but I don't know, somebody do something. Gabby's such an interesting, funny person. Come on. Like, come on. Like, I'm sorry. I feel like every week the wind just gets taken out of my sails.
Yeah, we do have a comment here. To be fair, the moment Tony was not a traitor, he lost, unfortunately. Yeah, I do kind of agree. Yeah. I feel like he was either going to get murdered early or he was going to get voted out early, one way or the other. And but hey, he was the second one voted out. Last time he was the second one voted out. It was in Game Changers. He came back to win Winners at War. So now Michelle is guaranteed to win Australia versus the world.
Or he could go on Dondi. Depends. Yeah. They might have him on that next. Let's see. I hope he doesn't win Australia versus the world. I hope an Aussie does.
Yeah, me too. even though I'm not Australian, us Southern Hemisphere's got to prove it to the big bad
Or
Americans.
a South African, yeah. Or
Yeah.
Rob, I wouldn't mind Rob winning. Yeah, that's true.
I'm not so hot on Rob.
Really? Oh,
Yeah. I don't know.
he's
Just
lovely.
it's
He's
either
lovely. He would like him.
Australian or Lisa. All right, just getting back on track to Traitors. So Drew,
Can we just talk about Alan and how
of course,
a lot his costume was?
Oh
There
my
was
goodness!
a suit. There was
Yeah.
a skirt, which was only at the front, mind
Yeah.
you. There was his hair. There was his his shirt, ruffle shirt. And then it just went up another peg when they actually went to the challenge and he had a headband. Like,
Yeah.
seriously.
Perfection.
I loved the nod to Parvati when Parvati always wore her iconic headbands, and Alan's like, hopefully this is living up to your standards, Queen Parvati. And
I think I need Kate and Parvati in every episode just commenting on. I need like a goggle box with them watching, and then I watch them watching the Traitors.
Yeah,
How epic was their walk in?
Yes.
They walked into the challenge. I just thought that was amazing. And they slowed it down. I loved it.
Drew, something I really liked was how, they're wearing those like really heavy dresses, right? They kind of look similar to like a corset, but they've got the fans on them trying to cool them down. I was like, oh, poor them.
Take it off. Not like a weird way. Just take it off. If you're that hot out there, you're wearing a lot of clothing. And I will say that, bringing up Alan's, during the breakfast, his top knot was really bothering me. I couldn't, I almost had to from it. And then the chest piece headset was distracting. Not in a bad way, but it's better than the top knot. And then Parvati and Kate's outfits, they were, if you're that hot, wear the same thing but lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, something that I did really love as well. So even on Alan's top into the round table, it was like a chessboard.
Yes.
Across the top. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah. It was the whole theme across the whole episode. And the funny thing is that at the beginning, when they were sitting at the breakfast table, he did say something to the effect of, "Where is your next move going to be?" And straight away, I thought chess, and no one else is saying chess. And then they get to the chessboard, and was it Brittany or Gabby said, "Oh, it's chess." I'm like, "Oh God, yes."
See, this is why we need you on one of these shows one day, Michelle, because you'd be able to predict every single mission, every single twist.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Anyway.
You would keep production on their toes. They'll try to be working around you.
All the eye rolling from Michelle would be epic.
It's so good.
They're bringing out that line. Come on.
Yeah. But I guess speaking of the mission, V, I actually did really like this mission, right? Where it was kind of similar to the touchy subjects kind of mission on Survivor, which is one of my favorite Survivor challenges of all time, where the Traitors have to pre-answer a whole bunch of questions, but everyone has to guess who they think the Traitors would have picked. And it's do the Traitors want to win more money by getting the right answers, or do they want to pull back? You know what I mean? But then if you're not saying anything, is that giving away the why aren't you helping the challenge? You could be a traitor. If you're saying too much, you might be a traitor, trying to mislead and stuff as well. How do you think Daniel and Carolyn could have pulled this off?
Well, I really do like the challenges, and maybe it's when it gets towards the end of the season where the Traitors do have to kind of make a choice of help or save themselves. And I do kind of wish that would come into play a little bit more of sabotaging and things like that. Just, to put more avoid suspicion or put more suspicion. I think it's a really good dynamic. But yeah, I think it was a terrific challenge. I love those sort of nasty challenges. And what did Tom get, his leader of the pack or something? Or he got something where they just blew smoke up his skirt, and he was like, "Yes."
I wrote down. It was so the question was, who is the biggest threat in the game? And Tom's like, "It's me." It's me.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest threat. Yeah, I agree.
It's just hysterical. I mean,
come on, so yeah.
Tom is just the gift that keeps on giving. He's just ridiculous, and I really want him to win. Probably not on his own, but
No, I want to solo Tom win. That's all I want, Drew. I just want Tom.
The last man standing.
Somehow it's the final two between Tom and the traitor, but then the traitor gets medically evacuated.
Yeah,
so it's just Tom at the end. Like, that's all I want to see.
Honestly, if Tom won this season, if he won the season by himself, but if he won with somebody else, like it's like okay, cool. I can at least acknowledge that he won because other things. And having said all that, yes, he has been entertaining, and he has, he has kept everything. Every time he's on screen, I am tuned in to see what he says, how he reacts, what type of weird mannerisms he has this time around. Like I get it. He's just annoying, but that's fine. Being annoying is fine. There are people on reality TV that are annoying all the time, and I still watch them. So good for Tom.
And we have a comment here. I don't think it's possible Tom can win by itself. Yes, you got to medically evacuate the other person at the final two. He's in a traitor thread, so there needs to be 2-5 for win. Nah, he's gonna Squid Game it and literally kill someone at the very end, and that's how he wins. But
yes.
When they came out onto the chessboard, and I saw, and they brought out the first chess piece, and I thought, they're over there. Why haven't they got the Harry Potter chess pieces out? I need the Harry Potter chess pieces, right?
Oh,
so I was a bit pissed off. And then next minute, though, the Dementor starts moving. So I'm like, oh, this is good. This is like Harry Potter. This is great. I love it. Love it. But then instead of the piece exploding, it fell over, which we all know it didn't fall over. Why didn't they just make it explode? Because the falling over bit just made me laugh, because it's obviously production just bang. We're seeing it on the ground. Like, they could have made it
something less a bit of theatre.
Yeah,
to have the theatre behind it.
I would have freaked out, like if I didn't know. So, like watching the chess, the Dementor, as you called it, move for the first time.
Right,
how big it was. If I was on that chessboard and didn't know that it was going to happen, I would have freaked out. Like that. I don't scare easily, and that would scare me in broad daylight in front of all those people. I would have thought that something was like really happening, and I would just run. Okay, this is not. Yeah, this is real, and I'm not going to stick around and see what happens next.
Yeah. Especially when like
there's a camera panning you running up a hill.
Back in the States, but I'm not doing it.
See, and this is how Tom Sandoval can win. He just needs to bring the giant Dementor piece with him to scare off the traitor, so they run all the way back to the States, and he's just the only one there to win. Boom. We've already sold the season. I'm your host, Mucky Hope, and catch us next season for the training. No, but something else I did love, just one last thing on Tom, and then I'll move on, is that was it the leader of the pack? And they chose like Tom for that, and Tom Confessional was like, you know what? Yeah. I've always been a bit of a lone wolf. And like
Leader isn't lone wolf. Leader is not lone wolf. It's like the antithesis of lone wolf.
Oh my gosh, I just can't stop laughing every time Tom's on the screen.
Only
Anyway,
in a show like this can you be that delusional and still potentially win. Like if you're on Survivor Big Brother and you are that delusional, you usually still get cut at some point, or you just don't win at the end. Here, he could be that delusional and still win and confirm in his head what he's thought this entire time. That oh yeah, I'm both a leader and a lone wolf, and I'm running the game, and now I've won. So clearly, I was right the entire time, and y'all are crazy for laughing at me.
Oh gosh, but unfortunately, Michelle, we do see here throughout this mission that Carolyn has been quite vocal on some of the answers.
Yeah,
one of them was right, but they chose the wrong one. Yeah, like, how do you think Kellen should have played this? Like, just
I think she
let
should have
them
been like
argue it out?
Danielle, basically quiet, just adding
Hmm.
something here and there. But because she was so loud with one of the questions, it made Dylan, was it Dylan who started
Yeah.
looking at her and started watching her? So, yeah, she
Hmm.
shouldn't have done it.
Can I say, Drew, Dylan was on point this episode. Like, you know, straight after breakfast, he has a chat with Gabby, and he's like, I know you would have murdered me by now, so I know you're all good. But he knows that he's been kept alive in the game deliberately. So he clocks as Danielle or Brittany. Like, he predicted, well, I guess he kind of foreshadowed Brittany to be the traitor, and so the last two traitors left.
You mean Carolyn?
Or Carolyn. Yes. No. Yes, it was Carolyn. Yes, it was. It was Carolyn.
But
yeah.
Still, I've been on the fence about Dylan all season. Like some weeks I'm like, okay, yeah, and then some weeks he's up Rob's ass, and it's like, okay, dude, like calm down. And I think that this episode kind of solidified for me. Besides the little push-up montage he had at the beginning of the episode, like, yeah, Dylan's doing well, and I think that Dylan and Gabby, I feel like, are the people that, if they were to win the game, yeah, good on them. And I think that Dylan clocking all of that, and especially during the challenge, he has, I would assume that he probably had the most confessionals during the actual challenge. And he's like, yeah, I'm just going to sit back and just watch the traitors expose themselves. And then Carolyn has the moment where she, something along the lines of, she thought that she was the one that no one listened to or something like that. And Dylan's like, yeah, that's really sus that Carolyn thinks that we don't listen to her, that she doesn't speak much or whatever. It's like, good on you, man. Like, you picked up on that, and it doesn't look like anyone else has. So, at least from what we're shown. So, you know, he's doing his thing.
Yeah. Actually, Michelle, I have been quite impressed with Gabby all season long, where she's sort of like portrayed as like a faithful and someone who's like very clearly faithful, similar to Dolores, but they're both still in the game. Do you think Gabby actually has a shot at making it to the end, or do you reckon she's on the hit list for murder?
I don't think she's on the hit list, because I don't think they would target her, because she seems to be really wishy-washy with her thoughts. So I think they would target someone like, unfortunately, Tom or Dylan, probably.
Yeah.
Once Brittany gets in, I think they'd go for one of the guys.
Yeah. And how about you, V? Like, have you been pretty impressed with Gabby so far this season?
Pay no attention to the tantrum happening on the other side of the door. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm impressed by Dylan. Even when he was up Rob's ass, Drew, I feel like he also had a sort of he wasn't completely under the thrall. Like, he had his suspicions, and he kind of managed to go, I'll pretend to follow Rob's thing, but I still think he's a traitor, which when he said that in like the third episode or something, that really impressed me, that he could still see through the bullshit as well. So, yeah, like you said, a Dylan win, I think, would be actually pretty well deserved. Yeah. And same with Gabby as well, to a lesser extent, but mainly a Dylan win. I can't remember what the question was.
It was just about, like, I guess, like Gabby's game in general.
Oh,
right? Yeah, because she has been quite wishy-washy, as Michelle said, but she's still seen as like a faithful, but not someone who's been murdered.
Not a threat.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if she's actually like the next person murdered, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. She's all right. She's funnier on TikTok.
Oh yeah. Have you guys seen her TikToks?
I haven't. No.
You haven't? How about you, Drew? She is so funny.
I'm on TikTok, so I have no
TikTok.
Idea.
Like, I saw this one ages ago. I think this is one I sent you, V, but she was saying that how, like, today's
my medication.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, today's a good day, but also a scary day because I'm out of medication and I don't have any nearby.
She's absolutely hysterical. Nothing about her game has really stood out to me apart from the fact that she's still there. The only standout to me at this moment is Dylan, and I think Danielle and Brittany are just going to do their thing and hopefully get banished, and Dylan and Tom can skate through to the end holding hands.
Especially Tom.
But you know.
And Drew, like after the mission, like it was literally Carolyn versus Danielle, right? And there's a lot of discussions where people are leaning towards Danielle more. And something I have seen often within the Traitors franchises, if you tell people to just trust me leading up to the banishment and then they say the argument there, often people won't really jump on board, if that makes sense. But I kind of feel like this was almost the first really where Danielle's telling people, just trust me. And they actually didn't vote in for Carolyn. Is there anything Carolyn could have done to try and skate by?
I think so. And so there's one conversation that sticks out to me, the conversation that Carolyn has with Dylan, where she's like, she's basically trying to say, and she starts, and I do think these emotions are coming from a real place. She had like this clear, like some PTSD from Survivor. It's like, people just did not listen to me. And as someone that watched that season, that would sit there and be like, yeah, she knows what she's talking about. And people would listen to her. It's like, okay, you can utilize this, express real emotion, and still be a traitor and want to go the other, and still, try to portray yourself as a faithful. And Dylan, you could see in his eyes, and I love watching Dylan interact with people because they usually cut to a confessional of what he's actually thinking as he's having conversations with people. And it's like, you can see that he's torn. And I think early in the episode, he's like, I don't want to have to pick between Danielle and Carolyn. I think if the numbers were larger, Carolyn potentially could have saved herself. But like at this point in the game, it's like, it doesn't take many. And, as we saw, it didn't take many.
Yeah. And Michelle, something interesting about the round table is that as Danielle's laying out her arguments as in why Carolyn's a traitor, she's getting very emotional about and stuff. And she's like trying to scramble herself to sort of put an argument to go up against Danielle. But I feel like there was something that was in Danielle's favor, because often we've seen with Boston Rob and even Bob the Drag Queen, they were very aggressive almost and sort of like targeting their players, especially when their backs are against the wall.
Yeah. And Danielle, the thing with Danielle is she said, it's the people that go for other people and are quite aggressive in the way they're going other people are the ones you need to look at. And then she was doing it herself. And I'm thinking, but no one's looking at her in that sort of light. Everyone's just sort of getting on the Caroline bandwagon. What I did want to bring up is that Danielle and Brittany's conversation earlier in the day, they were in tears, like loving each other. How much did they hate each other on Big Brother for them to now be totally different? Like, what was the relationship?
Yeah, because did you watch that season, Michelle? The reindeer game? Did you watch it, Drew?
No.
Yeah, no, I've got no clue what happened on that season. But at the very start, they're talking about that this is like some massive rivalry going into it, where Daniel felt personally betrayed and stuff. And now they're
crying with each other. And then Dylan's got tears talking to Caroline, and then we've got the whole end bit, which is just something else. But the tears in this episode were just full on. Yeah.
No, I 100% agree. And Drew, something that I do know about Traitors, being friends with Sam and a few other New Zealand players, you are paranoid 24/7 the whole duration of the game, right? Whether if you're a traitor or you're a faithful, like one conversation at let's say 10 a.m. when you're having breakfast, if you say something completely different by 9 p.m. later that night, people can clock you just like that, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. After you.
Oh, I was going to say, and I mean, it's the case with any type of Big Brother Survivor, things like that, where because these games breed paranoia, you're supposed to be paranoid because everyone is out to get you, whether it's today or next week or what have you. And I think the reason that specifically this episode, that people are starting to get very emotional is because they've kind of been sitting on these emotions for most of the game, because you aren't like, you're supposed to, you're almost obligated to internalize a lot of this most of the time. And as it gets closer and closer to the end, and you see the finish line and you realize, oh man, I might actually pull this off, those emotions just start to just naturally come out. And so it's fun watching it, not because I enjoy watching people cry, because I don't, but because you see the moment that these people become like actual humans. They don't become just these TV characters. And if we ever get a real Tom sad moment, I might actually be like, you know what? He's the greatest thing that's ever happened to Traitors, like ever.
Yeah.
If we get a legitimate Tom, I'm emotional. I can't deal with this. It's eating me up. It's like, you know what, Tom? I think I love you. But that's not going to happen, so it's fine.
Well, V, I know that you are an absolute sucker when it comes to family, reunions on Survive and heartfelt, pure emotions. Were you feeling, like the feels when Danielle and Brittany were crying together, and that,
oh, never.
Dylan's crying to Caroline?
Never? Never. Just get on with it. Get on with it.
Yeah.
Come on. It's fine. It's not that serious. Get on with it.
Yeah, well, Michelle, you sort of mentioned it earlier, and I guess I'll bring it up now, but, Carolyn announces that she's a traitor and everyone's applauding, but Danielle, she hides in a corner and is like shaking and crying. It's too much.
Well, it was too much. Like shaking, hands on her mouth, saying, I told you, and this rubbish. Like, I'm sorry, you look pathetic.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, at the start of the game, when she's doing all, like, the fake tears for, like, Dorinda and stuff like that with Bob the Drag Queen, it's like, while, like, there's not a strategy, I guess, I would really like, it's like, at least it's something, right? But this is like
and
she was literally shaking,
down to console her. I'd be standing beside her, looking at her like an Australian looks at anyone who's just acting stupid like that. Like, what the hell are you doing? And there'd be no consoling. I would not be bending down. So she made me so angry.
She really did. Like, Drew, I will admit, I am very biased because I'm so salty that Carolyn got voted out here. But, like, are you also in the same feeling that, like, Danielle's over the top, crying and shaking stuff? It's just a bit too much?
Too much is real. Like, I do agree that, like, if I were in that situation, I'm a very empathetic person. And I feel like at that point I would have given all of my empathy throughout the last few weeks, that it's like, okay,
I am empathetic. I'm very empathetic, but not too pathetic people.
Someone else hug her. Like, I'm good. I really just want to get through the rest of this game now. If we're gonna have to sit through here every week and watch this, at some point, either one, you're probably lying, or two, there might be some deeper things there. If this is you're supposed to be, one of these great Mount Rushmore type reality TV show people. And, Big Brother has a horrible track record on this show specifically, but, like, you're already outplaying basically everyone from Big Brother that's ever been on the show. But on the negative end of that, you just, since day one, have just been emotionally spiraling, and it's either real or you're just horrible and are just putting on this front because you want us to feel bad for you. And I don't know which one it is, and it's not my place to say. But I feel like at this point I would just kind of been like, okay, someone else hug her, please. Let's just get back to place.
We do have a few comments here about Danielle. The context is Brittany out her into a challenge, and that challenge got her eliminated. Danielle's number one was Brittany, but Brittany was looking in other directions. And the Reindeer Games feud was only one-sided. And then the last one here is that the issue is that she's been doing it the whole game, so she needed to do it here, or she isn't consistent. But my main argument for that, right, is you can still cry. You can still be upset. right? Like she wasn't even nearly as obsessed when Derek got murdered than she was when Carolyn got, eliminated. Like, like shouldn't drop to the ground and have like, a seizure. Like when Derek got
They're
murdered.
not actors. They're not actors.
Yeah, and it's just hard to watch, Michelle. Like, that's what I got to say. It's just too hard.
You know what I'd love? I'd actually love, because I've been watching Kelly Wentworth on Instagram a lot, covering Traitors. I think she needs to be on the next season.
I would love that, actually. Like, just while we're on the topic, Drew, who's some American Survivor players who you would love to see play on the Traitors?
Rob Sesternino. Michelle Fitzgerald, basically any social player. I know I said Rob first, but like any social player from Survivor, I would love to see play. Earl Cole, any over the top characters, probably not. Strategists, I'm probably good with them, but like the social folks, like I was ready to say Sarish, but Kim Bradlin would be another one. Like people that I know can just kind of put themselves in there and not. And it sucks because Jeremy was that person for me this season, and he got dealt with fairly early. So I was thinking about it this week actually, because I'm thinking about like old reality shows that they've been pulling from. I wasn't a fan of this show when it was out, but I'm surprised they've never brought anyone from the Jersey Shore. Because it definitely seems like the type of show that they would pull someone from, because they pulled them from Summer House, which I didn't know existed, Below Decks, like all these things that are, very niche. Jersey Shore was like this big thing for a while, and they haven't brought anyone from there. So I wouldn't mind seeing one of those horrible people on the show, just as a Tom stand-in, I guess. But yeah, Survivor players, if you're a social player, I would love to see. If you're a strategist, no, I'm good. And please don't put Ozzy or I don't know what's the big guy's name from 42, Jonathan. I don't want any of these people on there.
Well, but Jeff, come on here. What about Russell Hance?
Please, no.
I am a traitor.
He'd be going I am a
traitor, everyone.
Yeah.
You're like, listen.
Tony knows how to socialize.
He would break the rules of the game and just go around, I'm a traitor, you're my faithful, and I'm taking you to the end.
What's
I'm trying to do the Russell Hance voice, but it's not really coming.
You turn into a pirate.
That's supposed to be like Southern American or something, Mucky.
It's like I am Russell. No, I can't.
Why don't we put Philip on? Let's put Philip on.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Philip. Oh, that'd be so good. You know what?
Because I don't think they'd know him. I think they wouldn't get him out straight away because they wouldn't know who he was.
Well, no, they might get him out straight away because he would tell everyone that he's a special federal agent. Yeah. And they're like, wait a minute, he's one of the best detectives Traitors has ever seen. I would want to get rid of him.
Let's get him out of
Who was the dude in the sweater vest? What's his name again? From Survivor?
Cochran.
Yeah, Cochran. Yeah. He'd be good.
I would love to see Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach. Coach came up in my brain before.
And then on the Housewives, they need to put Lisa Rinna in. They need to put Lisa Rinna in, and they have to put Erica Jane in and get some more of the Housewives. I love seeing the Housewives in there. Makes me so happy.
How about over in Australia, Michelle? Like, is there any Australian Survivor players you reckon would be really good on the American Traitors?
Well, there's a few. I mean, I'd love to see Ferris. Ferris is really into it at the moment. He's really enjoying it. But obviously, I'd love George to be in there. But I think his conversations at the round table would be absolutely amazing. But whether he'd last very long, I don't know.
I don't think so.
No.
I can't bring it up in the chat, but Heidi or Spencer Pratt came on Traitors. Oh, I'd love that. I'd love to see Spencer Pratt in there.
Yeah,
I think it'd be fabulous.
We do have a comment here as well. Q from Survivor 46. Now, Drew,
Yeah.
I haven't seen Survivor 46, but I heard he's a very like chaotic player. Would he be someone who's pretty good on the Traitors?
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
He would be. I would, if I had to compare him, he'd probably end up being either like Carolyn or like Tom, and that's crazy to say that. But
that would be the
I
perfect
feel like
ring.
that would be the trajectory that he would go on. Yeah, Q. Heidi and Spencer, that is I haven't even thought about that. And I think that, I mean, Spencer specifically, but like, I forgot about all those MTV shows that they could pull it from. I feel like that right now they're kind of handcuffing themselves to like the Bravo, the CBS sphere. And I don't know if that's a contract thing or whatever, but like, they could definitely broaden to all of these networks that have put out all these trashy television shows over the last 20 years.
Michelle, just while we're on the topic of survivors, so Carolyn, she played season 44, still is one of the biggest stars of the new era of Survivor. Does her legacy still hold up after playing on the Traitors?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like everyone still thinks she's a little bit crazy. And I think it's done her well in her fandom because she's quirky, and a lot of people in this world don't see the quirkiness on screen. They just see the normal, the bland, and people like seeing the quirky so that a bit of themselves is represented.
Yeah. And how about you, V? Like, do you reckon Carolyn's legacy still holds up? Like, would you be excited to see a Carolyn 3.0, whether it's Survivor 50 or like another show?
I want to see her on The Amazing Race. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
She'd be crazy.
Yeah, I'd watch her again. I think she conducted herself really well. I think she played a really good game. It's a hard game, and I think she should be really proud of how she did. She didn't flame out at all. I think she played it really, really well.
Yeah. Michelle, who would you want Carolyn's partner to be? Obviously, you got Carson from Survivor. I would love to see like a Gabby or Danielle partnership.
No, they'd probably put one of her family members on or someone else from Survivor, but it's hard. How do you team up Caroline? It's like it's really tough because you want someone who's not going to get buried by her. You want someone who can actually match her in her enthusiasm. Yeah.
Oh, we do have a comment here as well. Omarosa would be a good one.
Oh, God.
I only know Omarosa from when she played that one season of Big Brother in Australia, but I liked her on that. I thought she was pretty dramatic, pretty cool.
Yeah, she's
and then
dramatic.
also they should pull many viral comedians. I'd love to see. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation, but Gimarco Storcy. Gimarco, did I say that right?
I said it's je rather than
Gianmarco on Traitors. Gianmarco.
I don't know who that is.
Gianmarco.
Probably Spanish.
Yeah, that's. I think that's a Spanish name, not a French name.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, God. I'm just going to put it into Google. How do you say? How do you pronounce?
Gianmarco.
Well, here we go.
Well, yeah, I think in New Zealand Traitors, there were a bunch of comedians and stuff, and I think it's a fun dynamic. Oh, we got Google.
Gianmarco.
Yeah, I've no idea who Gianmarco is, but now I'm sold.
I think that's a good idea. Some like comedians and they are very, like Drew said, they're really the Bravo, the Big Brother, and the Survivor. But yeah, bringing in some of the old MTV, the ones that the millennials will go, I remember them. And some comedians and things like that, like New Zealand did.
Yeah. And Drew, Danielle's in the Traitors turret, and she's been given a choice. She has to blackmail. Sorry, I got to pronounce it. She has to blackmail another player, and she must choose to be a traitor or face certain death. So I'm really struggling with these voices.
Sorry, I'm not even laughing at you. I'm laughing at V's face looking at you. V, you have to play that back and look at your face.
Oh my God.
Man.
Yeah, dude.
It's all just pirate.
Yeah, all of your accents sound the same. All of your impressions sound the same. So that sounded like Russell Hantz apparently because.
Oh
but you know, surprise, surprise, Danielle, you know, recruits Brittany to be a traitor.
Shocker.
But something I was thinking about: would you want your best friend or your ally to be a traitor with you, or would you rather, like, you know, what's it, like, get more numbers on your side by recruiting someone else to be?
No, you'd want your mate because you want to win money together.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I think the negative side to it is, was it Ivor? Someone said, I think that there are 2 traitors left, and I think they're both female. Well, now, I mean, yeah, we've gotten rid of one, so maybe we all think there's, and that person's going to be female. And now now that there are 2 traitors again, I think they're going to work well together, and I'm more curious to see what happens at the end of the game. What happened?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Continue.
We are listening. We are fascinated.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm like, oh God, what did I say?
I heard everything you said.
We were listening, I promise. It's just that we got Buddy the elf as a traitor, and it just got me slightly distracted.
I'm curious to see what would happen if they both made it to the end. If one or the other would throw the other under the bus, similar to what 3 tried to do in season 1 before the Jamoke from The Bachelor. I think he was from something. It was like, oh no, I'm above this. I'll just quit.
Yeah. Well, Michelle, we're down to what, the final 7? I think that's now 1, 2.
Yeah,
6,
I think
8. Yeah, final 7. They're probably going to murder someone, so it's down to the final 6.
Have we got 2 eps left?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 eps.
Okay.
So, like, who do you think's going to take it, Faithful or Traitor?
God, I don't know. I really don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I feel like I have to channel our dear friend Sam, who's not here tonight, unfortunately, but I'm Team Faithful.
Okay.
Yeah. I like more Faithfuls than Traitors at the moment, so. Yeah. How about you, Drew?
I mean, I'm rooting for Gabby and I'm rooting for Dylan, so I guess I'm rooting for the Faithfuls. If Danielle were to somehow pull this off, and especially if she pulled it off as if she pulls this off as the only traitor at this point, good for her. You know what? We've talked enough about it tonight and the last couple of weeks, but if she pulled that off, good on her. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, how about you, V? Closing remarks. Traitors or Faithful?
List. Look, I think Faithfuls are going to take it out. I don't hold a whole lot of confidence in Danielle and Brittany actually being able to drive this thing home. I've been endlessly impressed by Dylan. I'd like, and like I said before, I think him with the win with whoever else, I can see that being likely. But I think there were already eyes on Danielle, and Dylan was kind of one of the main catalysts for Caroline's downfall. So I think he's going to bring so I think he's going to bring Danielle down as well.
Yeah. And
I think he's going to surprise us all.
Hopefully. But unfortunately, that does bring us to the end of our podcast. If you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button. Have you guys noticed the change? Have you noticed the change? It's gone away. Oh my gosh. Can't say I'm so good at graphic designer, guys. Wow. My skills are just as great as my accents, all right? Just as great as my accents.
Is that Alan? Is that Alan?
That was a Scottish pirate.
Alan or Russell Hantz or a pirate or...
Well, if you're new to the channel, smash the subscribe button. Let us know down in the comments. Are you Team Faithful or Team Traitor this season? We will be back on Thursday to cover the 2nd week of Australian Survivor Brains vs. Brawn 2, which if you are watching, wow, what an explosive season so far. So make sure you check out our recaps and videos here on this channel for Australian Survivor and Traitors. But until then, I'm your host, Mucky Hope. Ka kite anō, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See you, everyone.